The last thing that we want as homeschool moms is to be burnt out. And it can happen so fast. Let me tell you why that is, and one way that we can prevent burnout before it happens. Hi, I'm Mystie Winckler, second generation homeschooling mom of 5 with 2 graduates from our homeschool so far. I'm also author of the book, The Convivial Homeschool, Gospel Encouragement for Keeping Your Sanity While Living and Learning Alongside Your Kids, and a co-host of the Scully Sisters podcast for classical homeschooling moms. One of the most critical pieces of a working homeschool is an engaged and attentive mother. And that's a hard thing to manage. My very favorite way to stay in the game has been to homeschool year-round. Grab a basket of laundry to fold or a set of math pages to correct, and let's dig in. So we normally think of burnout as happening when we are trying to do too much. When we get too busy and there's so much on our to-do list that we just can't handle it anymore. And we go, and burn out. So if we think of burnout that way, or we assume that burnout is a result of being too busy, then the automatic solution that we attempt is to cut back, to become less busy, to do less so that we don't burn out. Now, it is important that we do not burn out as homeschool moms. Homeschool moms that are burnt out are not effective teachers or leaders of their kids. And the quality of our homeschool is directly tied to our mental and emotional quality as moms. It's alarming, but true. It is worth troubleshooting if you feel burnt out as a homeschool mom. But the solutions that you attempt might not be the solutions that will actually work. Now, I think that burnout most often happens, particularly for busy homeschool moms, when we forget why we are doing what we are doing, and when we stop using our priorities as our filter for what to do. When we start being controlled and pulled hither and thither by what feels urgent without pausing to think and assess and choose where to put our time and attention, then we get burnt out. When we don't have any time to pause and think about where we actually are and what our children truly need, when we are driven by other people's expectations, by people pleasing, or by trying to control the outcome of our children's lives, then we will get burnt out. When we are trying to control things that are not ours to control, we will get ourselves wound too tightly and we will burn out. And it's also just a function of reality and entropy that when a lot is happening in our homes, when our homes are constant, busy places where so much life and learning is happening all the time, when all the people are home all day long of every day, that's a lot of wear and tear on the house. And then when we are supposed to be attentive, first of all, to the education and discipleship of our children, that takes a lot of time and energy. And it also can't fully be scheduled, right? We can make a plan and we can have a time budget and we can have a general flow for our days. But when we're talking about multiple children who need discipleship, who need mothering all day long, every day, then it's not surprising when our house doesn't get the amount of upkeep that would be required to keep it looking like people didn't actually live there, right? We would need to constantly be in housekeeper mode to keep up with a house that was always clean and orderly, when there are half a dozen people or more living their full life all day long in that house. It's just not a realistic set of expectations. So when we feel like we have to keep up with a quality education, intentional mothering and discipleship, as well as cleaning the house such that the house looks like people don't live there, we're going to be burnt out because we haven't actually decided our priorities and we aren't really filtering our choices according to the priorities and then being satisfied in our limitations and fulfilling faithfully our responsibilities and letting go what doesn't fit in our limited time and energy. Homeschooling houses are messier. If they aren't messier than a house where everyone goes to school or work for most of the day, then probably there's not really homeschooling going on. So if we can look around the house and see that the books laying out, that the stacks of paper, that the pencils everywhere and the cups everywhere are evidences that many people were actively working on projects, that our people were doing the things they were supposed to be doing, when we can interpret the scenario that we see in front of us properly, aligning it with the reality and the truth of what we're doing, then looking around and seeing that the house is a mess is not going to drain us to the point of feeling burnt out about it, because we aren't trying to scramble and control the circumstances to fit our ideal. And then, of course, we do still have to live in the house. And so things have to be put back together at some point. The housework does have to be done. So what's a mom to do? Here's what I did for most of our homeschooling career. I homeschooled year-round. Now, homeschooling year-round does not mean that you constantly homeschool 52 weeks out of the year. You still homeschool about 30, 34, 36, whatever weeks out of the year, like normal. And who decided that that was normal anyway? It's kind of made up. But we took breaks 1 week out of every 6 for 15 years, with a 6-week Christmas break and a 6-week summer break as well. And what these sprinkled through break weeks allowed me to do is put the house back together before it became utter and total chaos. But the real sanity-saving part of homeschooling year-round wasn't just that I did clean the house more on that week off between school terms. What it allowed me to do was to see the mess, to see the clutter piles, to see the pantry out of sorts and the coat closet overflowing, to see the papers accumulating while we're homeschooling, and to be able to tell myself, it's okay. There will be a time for taking care of all that. I know that I am going to take care of all of that, but now is not the time. Now is the time I educate the children. Now is the time we read the books and write the papers and do the things. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to tackle that spot right there. But because I know that I will, but not now, it doesn't stress me out. I can calmly move on, having addressed the situation responsibly. So the fact that there was extra accumulated clutter, that entropy was creeping in more quickly than I would have cared for, but without feeling like I had to deal with it immediately. That is operating in urgent mode, where as soon as you notice something, you think you have to do something about it right away. That's what makes you feel stressed out. That's what leads to burnout. And homeschooling year-round was one tactic that I used to take a step back and put things in their proper place at the proper time and really live out our chosen priorities instead of being driven by whatever seemed biggest and neediest in front of my eyes in the minute. So let's talk more in these coming episodes about homeschooling year-round, how we made it work, what the benefits were, and also why I'm not doing it anymore, even though I really do absolutely love the homeschooling year-round schedule. You don't want to miss a single episode in this series. You can just start the playlist going right here and catch them all.